In this short video, I'm going to talk about how we can graph lines when we have the equation in slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form is just how we say y equals mx plus b. We've learned in the last unit about how useful that form of a line is. For example, we know the slope, we know the y-intercept or the initial value, and we can also generate tables of values. It's also a great form to let us easily graph the line by hand. So in y equals mx plus b, I know that m is my slope, so I've got a slope of 2 over 3, so a rise of 2 and a run of 3. And my b value, which is positive 1, means that I've got a y-intercept of 0, 1. So to plot this point, I'm going to start my graph, or start my line at the y-intercept. So there's my point 0, 1. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. Hopefully you can see my graph paper a little bit easier. And I have a positive slope, so that means I'm going to be going up and over. So I'm going to have a rise of 2 and a run of 3. So I'm going up 2 over 3. Now, 2 points is enough to draw any straight line. I think sometimes it's easier just to add a few more points onto your graph. Just makes it easier to set up the ruler. And then all we need to do is connect a smooth line that goes through your grid. It should extend on both sides of the y-intercept, and we should have arrows because a line goes from negative infinity to positive infinity. So a line goes on forever, so I need to have it extending in both directions with arrows to indicate that it continues on beyond the edges of my graph paper. Let's look at a couple more examples. So again, I have it in the form y equals mx plus b. So my slope is 3, and it may help you if you want to write that as 3 over 1. So any whole number is the same as over 1, and that might help us think about the rise and the run. In this case, our b value is negative 2. Remember, the sign in front of the term goes with the term. So my starting point, or my y-intercept, is 0, negative 2, so I'm going to start there. Again, my slope is positive, so I'm going up and over. So I've got a rise of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then a run of 1. And again, I like to do a few points, and maybe a few points in both directions, just so it's easier for me to put my ruler onto paper. And again, we're going to connect with a smooth line in both directions with the arrows. So only 2 steps when we're graphing a line in y equals mx plus b form. We start at the y-intercept, and then we use the slope to tell us kind of the angle or the direction that we need to draw our line. Here's one last one. I've got a slope this time of negative 1/4. So we'll talk about how to graph a negative slope. Then I don't see my b value, so I'm not adding or subtracting anything. So I have a b value of 0. So my y-intercept must be 0, 0. So I'm going to start this line at the origin. Now, this time I've got a negative slope. Negative slope means the line is going to go down from left to right. So I'm going to go down, then I'm still going to go over. So I'm always working left to right. So I've got a rise of negative 1. I can go down 1. And then over 4. Down 1, over 4. And again, I'm going to connect. Please always use a ruler. And always add those arrows on both sides. How can I check my work, check my answer? Well, we could either plug in the coordinates. So we could plug in, for example, an x value of 4 to make sure that we get the corresponding y value. We could also just type this into our online graphical calculator Desmos, and we can see if our hand-drawn graph lines up with the computer-generated one. Okay, that's all for now, and in the next video we'll talk about how to graph lines when they aren't in y equals mx plus b form.